Alright, get your popcorn because this video ended up being a little bit longer than I expected, but we're gonna be reading some corruption horror stories again today, so let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome back. We just finished celebrating 1,000 subs last week, and I know that video was a little bit late, but today I thought that, I guess in continuation of celebrating, kinda, I just want to read your guys' corruption horror stories in a video. I've already gone through each and every single one of your guys' comments, even the super long ones, which I'm not gonna include the ones that were like super long in this video for time's sake. Just like in the last video, if you have any corruption horror stories, please leave them down in the comments because I kind of want to make a third part of this eventually. I really like reading your guys' comments, your guys' stories. So the first story, it says, I have a corruption story. I didn't know about corruption in The Sims 2 at the time, but I was messing around with cheats in Pleasant View and I somehow bugged the game and added 5 burglars into the Pleasant's household. They were all flickering and teleporting everywhere, and they had distorted faces while T-posing and blinking purple. Then I went into the neighborhood screen and some houses were floating and were not where they were supposed to be. In the cast room, the sim would not show up, and I tried loading in River Blossom Hills and the houses disappeared. I tried going into a lot, but it would crash, and when I opened it up, the text was glitched. I had to reinstall the game. This could have been something with CC, but I have no idea. I think it has to do with the fact that you added 5 burglars, but it could be an issue with CC since I know that custom content can actually ruin your game. Not that I want to scare anyone into not downloading any CC, but just know that there's some mods and custom content that actually mess with the game because they weren't made properly. This next one, I love your username, Joestar Max, an intellectual I see. They said, I also have a corruption story. This was a couple days ago. I adopted a toddler, I aged him up, and saw his family tree. There was a cat in place where his parents should be, and he wasn't related to them at all. I closed the game without saving, adopted a new baby, and this didn't happen again. It was really weird, and now I'm scared about adopting Sims. I've heard stories of people having issues with adopting Sims, and honestly, the best thing you can do when that happens is like this person did and just exit without saving. This is also why I highly suggest you make backups. And just when you're gonna do something big or important with your neighborhood or with a family that you really care about in this game, honestly, make a backup, save beforehand in case anything like this happens so that you're able to safely exit without saving and not lose a bunch of progress that you did. Just playing The Sims 2 in general really made it a habit of mine to always save before doing anything major like that. This next one's not so much this person's story, but they shared a link with something. So this is by Calipers and Tongs, which if you are into the whole corruption thing in The Sims 2, you've definitely heard of this person, and I love their videos. They actually sent a link in, and it takes you to Reddit on r/Sims2, and somebody posted them showing that young Daniel Pleasant got failing grades and 1 million social workers showed up, and here's the picture. It just basically became a social worker convention, and there's even social workers sitting like they're in a car but they're floating because there's no actual car for them. I just thought that was super awesome. That's a whole social worker convention right there. This next one is by someone with the username Wolf, and I love that cat picture. They said, I don't know if it was because of corruption, but I once had a sim whose face got stuck in a grin. It was super freaky. Everything else he did worked as it should, but his face did not move. He was even abducted by aliens, and he still had that freaky grin on the whole cutscene. That right there sounds like nightmare fuel. This next one is by Mushroom Baby, and it's another adoption corruption horror story. They said, once I adopted a puppy, everything was fine. I closed the game and a few hours later I came back and my puppy was forced to play toddler animations. It was terrifying. I tried removing the creature from my household and it worked. I adopted a toddler and quit the game again. This time my toddler was forced to play pet animations. After this, I never adopted a child or a pet again. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have adopted a pet or a child in that game for a long time after that. Like the other adoption corruption story, like I said, the best thing you can do is just exit without saving, and hopefully that should take care of that. The game just has like a little hiccup or something, but that's not right. This next story reads that happened a long time ago when I was like 8 or 9. Now they're 14. I was just playing The Sims and everything was fine until a random townie came to my house. He was literally living his best life in my house and doing random things. When he left, every sim from my family glitched and froze in T-pose. Then every texture in my game started to glitch and everything was purple and black. After that, I was scared of the game and didn't play till next month. Ooh, now that visitor did something that's creepy. Also, they said if I wrote something not very easy to understand, I'm sorry, I'm trying my best. You did perfectly fine. This next one says, considering disappearing neighborhoods, I once encountered it too, but the fault was solely mine. I had a neighborhood where I moved a bunch of Sims from other neighborhoods. When I was a kid, I didn't know about corruption, but once, for some unknown reason, I went to my game files and thought, oh, this is a thumbnails folder. It's a bunch of pictures, seems useless to me, and deleted it. Well, the rest is history. When I opened my game again, I saw 3 pre-made hoods and mine was nowhere to be found. Silly me, I was so upset, couldn't even play again for a while. Aside from that, I've seen crazy family trees. Shouldn't have deleted those graves. Yes, don't delete graves. Crashing lots, spamming error messages, and broken wands. I've never seen T-posing Sims though, with all the stuff I did in my game back in the day. No, don't ever go and start deleting files from your game if you don't know what they're there for. Oh man. I hope you didn't put too much time and effort into that custom neighborhood, because that would suck. This next one is one of the pretty long ones that I picked out. It says, I don't know if this counts as corruption, but I'll mention it anyway. So I was playing with the Oromas family. Oromas? Am I saying that right? The unborn twins' father turned out to be David, Samantha's oldest kid. Oh no. Ever since that happened, I had the craziest idea of having David be the father of 400 plus kids. Oh, I don't remember reading this. From various different families. Unfortunately, when I made it to, I think, 408 for David, I decided to save and exit the game for the night. Wait, you had him have 408 kids in one sit playthrough? Like, screw the 100 baby challenge. This person just took it to a whole nother level. Oh my god. You deserve an award for that. How long did that take? Months pass and I play the Oromas family again. Look at the family tree, and all of David's kids, also his relationships with his lovers, etc., ended up getting corrupted, and only the Oromas family, Dora, Peter, Samantha, and the 2 unborn twins, David, Tommy, and Charla, survived. Like, I barely played them. I was very sad because all of my progress with David was gone, and I wondered if the kids David had got erased from existence or they were still in the game but they aren't related to anyone in the Oromas family anymore. I sadly never found out. To this day, I'm still sad my progress is gone, but it's one crazy thing to remember every time I play with the Oromas family. I may try and do this again with David Oromas, but I don't think I want to go through possibly losing my progress again. Next time, I'll simmer down on giving David too many lovers and kids. That's one of the craziest, stories I've heard. I'm still shocked. 408 kids? Ooh, no. Alright, moving on to the next story. This person said, not sure if this is a corruption horror story. I think it was just a weird glitch, but I had a problem with a nanny stealing babies in Veronaville. What? Happened a few times, but basically, when the nanny was done with her day, the carpool would come, she would pick up the baby and take it with her when she left. The baby would then be removed from the family, although it would show up on the sidewalk when I saved and reloaded the game, kind of like when you delete a sim through testing cheats, so the babies weren't actually fully removed from the family. And before anyone comments, it was not the social worker, it was 100% an evil, glitched, corrupted nanny in Veronaville that stole babies. I even made a post on r/Sims2 about it because I was so concerned and never seen it before. Eventually, she just stopped doing it though. Wow, that's a... Kidnapping babies? Something like this actually happened to me, but in The Sims 3. I called in a babysitter, and they picked up the baby right when their shift ended, or when I dismissed them, and they ended up taking the baby with them, and I knew where they lived, so the baby just ended up being put in front of their house, so my sim had to go all the way to that house to pick up their baby and take it back. But that's crazy. I actually went into the comments of this comment because I wanted to read what Wolfchuk replied. They said apparently this was a really common issue back in the early Sims 2 days. Never happened to me though, but I heard about it from a lot of others. So thieving baby nappers, they were a problem in The Sims 2. This next one's kind of a short one, but I thought it was really interesting because I've never seen this before. This person said, I have a story about corruption, or maybe it was just a glitch. I'm sure this has happened to other people. I logged into my game, and my sim was literally walking underground. The green thing moved to wherever I clicked, but there was no sim. To make it even creepier, I zoomed in, and her head appeared, but there was no body. I don't think that's a glitch. I think that's straight up corruption, but that is creepy. This next one is one of the longer ones. This is by Sari Wilson. They said, I had a strange incident occur at least over a year ago in one of my older custom hoods. It's still alive and kicking, well, I'm glad. I had a sim tending to her garden. I believe she was growing tomatoes. Now I will just say that she was in her home lot, residential, not community. Why do I say that? Well, in her action queue, the unsavory charlatans thumbnail appeared. Confused, I hovered over to one of the lot's entry portals to actually see the charlatan stood there doing his weird poses. I panicked and made the poor woman run into the house so I could lock all the doors. No one was allowed to leave the house until he left, which he did surprisingly leave on his own after 24 in-game hours. Oh my god. He was just standing by one of the locked doors posing. He isn't supposed to appear on residential lots, so I was worried. Another story I have, though this may not be corruption based, is my sim's house being overrun by gardeners. None of the 6 did their job, they just made a mess. This is actually the second story I've heard about the gardeners situation, so when I was rereading this I was like, didn't they put a link? There's actually another story on here which is very similar, and they actually provided a link to a little Twitter thread which I will show. But before we get into that story, here's another story by someone named Maya R, and I see your profile picture. I see you. They said, man, I have too many stories, but my last story was crazy. This happened back in December. Pleasant View was doing pretty well, and I was playing Nina Caliente and Sid Roseland. They moved in together, and she was pregnant with his child. Slowly afterwards, Tina Caliente, Don and Nina's child, lost 2 of her want slots as a toddler. I think this is a sign of corruption. I was panicking, but it was her birthday, so I aged her up and everything was fine. I exited the lot and then came back to it a little later. When I revisited the family, Nina disappeared. Her plumb bob was there, but her physical body wasn't. The house also disappeared, and then Tina was a toddler again, but she had the kid voice and actions. Tina also lost her family ties with Nina. I moved them to Darren's house, and then Nina was erased. I aged up Tina to a teen, but she kept her toddler body and started to kiss Bo Broke, a teen at the time. That does not sound right. That is not right. I kept on getting object error. I don't know what that means. That just means that something in the game is stuck or not functioning right, and if you have testing sheets enabled true, you have to make the decision whether to reset or delete it. I just wanted to throw that in there. Oh, and usually you want to reset it, not delete it, because we know what deleting things in this game does. I decided to move on to Strangetown and visit the Curious Bros, but they lost their family relationship. I started to do some Alabama and have them flirt with each other. Oh, girl, that's not right. No, please don't. Please don't. Laszlo unfortunately lost his face too. Oh. I moved to River Blossom Hills, and then the whole game crashed. Well, please don't make the Curious Bros do some of that. Oh, no, please don't. Please don't. Let's just move on to the next one. So this is by someone with the name Bot, and is that Nanami as your profile picture? Is that Nanami from Kami-sama? Because you're an intellectual. Oh, I remember watching the anime back in the day. It just brings nostalgia to me. So their corruption story is interesting, and they actually provided pictures. So they said, so I've always kind of been really into glitches and mistakes in games and all of that. So I've actively been trying some things that might trigger corruption. Oh, I should have put a disclaimer like in the beginning of every one of these episodes. I don't condone people ruining their games, and I am not responsible if anything happens to your game. But I'm just saying, you know, if you really want to corrupt your game, I mean, I'm not one to stop you. It's quite interesting, but it ain't my fault. But one of the things I did not expect to happen was for a whole bunch of gardeners to show up when I called for a gardener. It was literally some clown's car or something. The door of the car opened and gardeners kept coming out. Only 2 of them started out doing their job, while the rest of them eventually ended up having a party in my house. I couldn't dismiss them because my Sims were at school or at work, and I'm just gonna insert here the Twitter post so you can see that they're just chilling, watching TV, talking to each other. And in the other picture, there's more of them. You see the 2 of them outside working, while the rest of them are just chilling inside. Moving on to the next one. This is by someone with the name Rebecca. They said, years ago I played The Sims 2. I had 2 teenagers fall in love. They went steady. I had to toggle between the households so they can age at the same time. Well, just a day before the boy was to be an adult, his face got seriously distorted. No matter what I did, I could not fix it. Even when he became an adult, his face was distorted. I ended up deleting that family altogether. Oh no, don't do that. But his poor girlfriend still had memories of the relationship, and memories is one of the things that causes corruption to spread so fast, because that's what ties other Sims together, and it's just a whole mess. When she grew up, she met someone else and had a family with him. Oh, it's kind of a sad ending for the guy, really. Sometimes I would have Sims become invisible. It's funny to see random things floating around. Some of the glitches are funny and others can be rather creepy. Yes, and that's why I love corruption stuff in this game. Alright, we're coming down to the last 3 stories. This next story reads, yeah, about that bringing friends home from work. I didn't have the Free Time expansion pack when I first played The Sims 2, but now I have the Ultimate Collection, and I can tell you Free Time has a lot of glitches. For example, I played the clean template of Pleasant View, and Bella Goth got a chance card from which she would bring a friend home. That friend was the Grand Vampire. She was coming back home at 3 p.m. every day after she came back home. She would bring that vampire home, and he would wait there while literally smoking until she greets her daughter so he could say goodbye and run home to stay alive. Even worse, the game constantly keeps on bringing the same friend from work home, so she had 100 out of 100 relationship with him. Even though all they did was things I mentioned above, I wrote that on the Sims 2 Facebook group, and someone recommended the mod which asks you about bringing friends from work home. That person had their Sim bring back the ghost of Dora Automa's home. Oh no. Yeah, that sometimes you do need some mods to stop your game from screwing itself over. So I have heard that mod is a good one to have. I don't have that mod, I believe, but if I wanted to preserve my game, I would definitely get it. So after reinstalling my game, once the series is over, I will definitely be getting that mod. Alright, our next story reads, I sort of have a corruption story. I was playing a custom hood I made and a Sim in a custom university I also made. And whenever I would click on my Sim to take him to class, he would reset over and over again. I was able to tell he was resetting because the Sim's thumbnail would keep changing, and I didn't have testing cheats enabled on either, so the error pop-ups weren't showing unless I turned it on. He couldn't even interact with anything. He would just freeze. I then went on to my downloads folder and deleted my most recent mod, which at the time was Visitor Controller, and that fixed the problem. It made me learn not to install multiple mods at once. There's gonna be a problem. But thankfully I had a backup of that neighborhood and used that instead, and now everything is good. Yes, I can't stress this enough, make backups. Also, there are mods that clash with each other, and like I said, there are just mods that weren't, I guess, coded properly. Just some mods mess with your game, especially maybe after, like, updates. So if the mod is older, it might have some problems. But yes, whenever you get a mod, just insert one at a time, test it out in the game. If all's good, you can put in the next mod. But usually if you get mods from Mod The Sims, they will tell you in the description if it conflicts with any other mods, so that's always useful. And we are down to our last story. This is by Toast. They said, I can't really remember what happened, but I know when I was either 12 or 13, I recently discovered Bullprop. I was testing out all the cheats, adding Grim to the family tree, spawning a whole bunch of debug objects, and forcing errors on everything. I did the same thing when I first found how to enable Bullprop, so don't even sweat it, literally. I'm pretty sure all of us have done this. The next time I tried to open up the game, it was completely dead. Wouldn't load past the title screen. I had to do a complete reinstall. I had 5 years of saves on it as well as my sister's saves. I cried a lot. Oh no. Recently, I've been trying to corrupt a backed up save on purpose. So far, I've experienced random calls from bugs in a jar asking to come over at 4 in the morning, and bowling balls appearing randomly on lots. Sims 2 is wild. It is wild, and also, those bugs in a jar are seeking revenge. Thank you guys so much for providing your corruption horror stories. This was super fun for me to read. If you have any more stories, leave them down in the comments. I read each and every single one of them, alright? If you guys would like another part 3 of me reading these corruption horror stories, please let me know. I feel bad that I couldn't get every single story in here, but everyone's stories are amazing. That is all I have for you guys today. You can join the Discord, and that's where we share other stories, talk to each other. It's a cool place that you can go and talk to other people that are also interested in Sims 2 corruption and just Sims things in general. So the link for that is in the description as well as the channel description. And that's all until next time. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.